And good morning, Monday morning, everybody. I hope you're well. What you're looking at is the website of the Harris County District Clerk, Marilyn Burgess. And under the name Watson, these are the cases that have been filed. Remember, Tony Buzbee said that there were going to be more lawsuits against Deshaun Watson. The only one that we see is the one that he introduced a couple of weeks ago. Katie Williams, who is not an actual massage therapist and never was. She was never licensed, versus Deshaun Watson. And then before that, on the 31st of March, Nia Smith versus Deshaun Watson. There's nothing new. Nothing new. There's the Office of the District Attorney versus Keith Dwayne Watson. There's David Erskine versus Sharon Watson. And there's the Office of the Attorney General of Texas versus Dadrian Renick Watson. There's no Deshaun Watson here. Okay? None. So Tony Buzbee has spent a lot of time hyping up these supposed 25th, or if you like 26th and 27th, or however you count them, lawsuits. But they're not there. Then he said they promised that they were coming. That was a week ago. They're still not here. Meanwhile, we have the disturbing involvement of Pro Football Talk in all of this, putting out wave after wave of negative information about Deshaun Watson. Latest saying that Harris County District Attorney Kim Ogg says that the like of an indictment of Deshaun Watson was not an exoneration, and that Watson may still face accountability and repercussions in other parts of our legal system. Well, that's an opinion. Okay. The bottom line is the grand jury took its action. The Houston police have not filed charges either. Okay. So I asked the question. I asked if Pro Football Talk was indeed, coming up with, or being paid by Tony Buzbee to produce and pay attention to this issue. It's a fair question. All he has to do is answer the question. Mike, is that the case? Okay? Because there's a lot of attention, not just in terms of paid to, not just in terms of new posts, but in terms of tweets about this, where he's engaging with members of the Twitter audience. But the bottom line right now is there is no filing. I don't care what anyone says, there's no filing. Let's see what we get when we type Tony Buzbee. Here. Okay. Aside from Tony Buzbee for mayor. Ha ha ha. That's what I just posted. Tony Buzbee hasn't filed new Deshaun Watson lawsuits after big talk. Okay. It's worth a like and a retweet there. Buzbee, this is June 13th. Tony Buzbee tells me 2 more lawsuits will be filed against Deshaun Watson. Per Buzbee, one case comes as a referral from an Atlanta lawyer. The second saw the HBO Real Sports coverage and came forward. But nothing has happened. That's June 13th. Today is the 20th. All right? Who's Josh Vaught? He is executive producer of WEWS Cleveland. Okay. And Tony Buzbee told him. So interesting that Tony Buzbee would work the Cleveland media and to say that. And says, this is exactly my point. Peter Palazzo says, it's beyond dispute that elite athletes routinely pay masseuses for sex. Any reasonable assessment in the Deshaun Watson situation has to account for the probability that Tony Buzbee's clients are prostitutes flipping on Watson for the promise of an even bigger payday. That's right. Yep. And that refers to massage therapists engaged in sex with 5 Ohio State football players. And as I've said, Houston has a big problem with prostitutes posing as massage therapists, an enormous one that TCU professor Vanessa Boudros wrote about in her study in 2015. I have reached out to her. She doesn't want to get involved with this. She should, though. She should speak up. She should talk about this. Okay? And so, and this is what Peter is saying. He's right. Soliciting masseuses for sex might be a crime in some states anyway, but it's not sexual assault, and it doesn't justify a fraction of the opprobrium Watson has received. Regarding Buzbee's lawsuits, Bob Kraft suffered 0 consequences for being charged with solicitation. Also, it's extremely naive to believe that star athletes of Watson's stature and wealth wouldn't have access to networks of masseuses to provide these services. It's undeniable that these networks are literally everywhere, especially with respect to being able to reach out via apps, right? Then he goes on to say that it's also naive to believe that elite athletes with high earning potential aren't, in some circles, advised to pay for sex instead of attaching emotion to it. The latter for better or worse, for being viewed as a distraction and risk to their financial futures, divorce, and so on. Then he goes on to say, again, these concerns are well documented, including SI cover story from 2009 on a striking similar ways pro athletes tend to blow their fortunes, citing as one key factor the divorce rate for pro athletes. So prostitutes are highly paid masseuses who engage in consensual sex with certain clients, whether you want to call them. There's surely an infinite diversity in the spectrum. Watson's harshest critics, displaying extreme puritanism and ignorance, read the oldest profession in the world. See below link piece for no analysis and critique of the unbalanced corporate media narrative on the allegations against Watson. Exactly. Knew it, Cleveland frowns. Tony Buzbee's smear campaign against Deshaun Watson is becoming increasingly desperate and transparent. Yep. And so he says if these were sex workers, you should be able to. Now, this is where this guy doesn't understand, all right? He says the fact that there is 0 evidence for this, of any of this for the 26, means the theory that it's sex workers is bunk. That's not true. That is way not true. This guy needs to read Vanessa Boudros' study. Really does. So, the upshot of this live stream basically is that Tony Buzbee has not issued the lawsuit. And Tony should stop using this matter to basically gin up the media and gin up people to look and talk about something when he has nothing that's there. The bottom line is he doesn't have a new lawsuit to file. And he may never have another lawsuit to file. Apparently Tony got the call and then jumped the gun. And now, the delay reflects the fact that he doesn't have all the what he feels he needs to file. Otherwise, it would be listed here. It's not here. Subscribe to Zenny62 Media or Zenny62 on YouTube, and bookmark oaklandnewsnowblog.com. That is this transmission.